Hey, Trade Pros, it is Victorio from Trade Pro Academy. I hope everyone is doing well and is ready for yet another video here. We are going to break down how exactly to find trade areas on TradingView. We're going to talk about everything that comes into creating levels to trade and how we find our specific trade levels that helps our community on a daily basis, right? That is shared with our community on a daily basis, that is shared with social media on a daily basis, and you can find a lot of videos on how to find levels, but these levels are so freaking good that I decided to make this video because everyone needs to know how to draw these. But first, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that little bell to notify when we do go live and drop videos like these every week. So let's get into this intro and let's talk about levels. We can break this video down into 5 separate parts, mainly, right? It's going to take a lot of understanding of simple moving aspects to actually draw these levels and use them in an effective manner. Meaning, number 1, what we're going to be talking about is what charts exactly do you need on TradingView. Number 2, we're going to be talking about market structure. Number 3, we are going to be talking about how to break down, right, one of the key tools that is used for these levels called the volume profile. Number 4, we're going to talk about multi-time frame analysis. And number 5, we're going to be combining volume profile, structure, and multi-time frame analysis to find those super key levels. So let's go. Step number 1, let's talk about TradingView. Let's jump into TradingView. So in front of me, you have Facebook here. We can use this. We can use other different stocks. Doesn't really matter, but we have Facebook in front of us. And it's a very blank chart here on TradingView. Now on TradingView, what you're going to need is a daily chart or a weekly chart. It's a very general chart with candlesticks. And you're also going to need your volume profiles. So in the volume profiles, we can go into indicators here, and you can find the session volume profile, which you're not going to see on a daily naturally, and you can find the visible range. So I like to change the colors. I hate this like yellow and blue combination that TradingView has to offer. So I typically just change it to like a gray and different gray. So something like that, right? So I typically change it to that. We'll go the percent box of the widths maybe a little higher, right? It doesn't have to be that high. Maybe we go even 25, a little lower. And we can put our inputs, right? Row size, let's go 70, value area stay 70, and there we go. So we've drawn our visible range. And as you can see, as we move, the volume profile moves because it encompasses whatever is on the screen. So these are the main 2 things that we need on TradingView. It's very simple, right? We can just change these a little more. The intradays, I like them different shades of blue, right? So we're going to do that. And if we go into like a 4-hour, for example, you can see where, or even a little lower, right, at 10-minute, you can see where the actual volume profiles are on an intraday basis. But it's not going to be that important. We're merely going to stick to this one here on the side. So now that we've broken down what exactly we need on TradingView, right, we can jump into step number 2. So step number 2, what we're going to need to do is understand market structure. This is the first area where we can actually start thinking about where our levels may be, right? Start to understand how our levels may form without diving too much into like volume profiles into other things. So market structure in its simplest form, we have 2 main trends, right? We have a third trend, the range, but we have 2 main trends in the bear and the bull. So the bull is pretty simple, right? We know bullish trends, they have higher highs and higher lows, right? And in a bullish trend, in the higher highs, higher lows, typically the prior peaks, right, become support areas, right? They were once resistance, they are now support. And the impulse areas at which the price actually moves to make a new high is going to be another support area. So you can see, right, prior peak turns support, impulse now turns support, so on and so forth. In the bear, right, in the bear, we have lower lows and lower highs, right? It's the same principles. Prior peaks turn resistance, right? Prior impulses turn resistance as well. As long as these conditions are met, the downtrend will continue. So, for example, if we're looking at Facebook and this area right here sticks out as bullish because it actually continues, right? Higher low, higher high, right? We can add these as some key support structures. You can see how well they hold, right? The impulse areas, right? This, if we draw a line straight through here, prior low, right? Straight through here, right? Obviously, it's not straight. It's not a straight line, but you get what I mean. So that's the main way where we start to actually visualize these levels. Now, this is not going to be the be all and end all because we're going to end up having a lot of levels, but we start to visualize levels. So this is going to be an important piece where the market structure starts to converge, multiple tests of an area, right? We want to visualize that. So those two things we want to visualize before we actually start drawing levels, because the levels are going to be a combination of a few different things. So now we understood that a little better, right? The trend, where to look for areas of interest, right? This is the first part, areas of interest, right? These peaks. So maybe we draw a level somewhere like this, and you have the impulse here that takes us. A prior top turns into a support, right? We were visualizing these levels. But there's going to be another aspect to this, right? There's going to be a little more to this. And that little more is going to be step 3, the volume profile. We have this main volume profile on the side here. Now, you can draw levels on a daily basis, right? If you're swing trading on a 4-hour basis, if you're swing trading on the intradays, the 15 and 5 minute, if you're day trading, we're going to talk about this in step 4. But right now, step 3, what we're going to be talking about is the volume profile. So the volume profile, if we're looking at the session volume profile, the overall use of this is understanding not where the value area is. Because if we change the actual vision, right, the visual aspect of this, we're going to change where the value area is going to be. Now, what we're going to do instead on the visible range is identify where the ledges are. So what we call ledges are going to be these very identified shelves. So I can draw one like this. Obviously, that's not the best one, but I can draw one something like this, right? It's a shelf. Now, what this shelf represents is the area at which the high volume node, a high volume node is the larger volume that sticks out, where the high volume node drops off into a low volume node, right? This drop off creates what we call a shelf or a ledge, right? These massive turning points are going to be areas of interest. Now, the volume profile has these bellies that stick out, which are multiple high volume nodes together. This cluster is called a distribution or a balance area. So usually those areas are sandwiched by these shelves or ledges, right? So if we zoom in a little more, right? If we zoom in a little more, we can draw these, right? And they're not always going to be super exact, but we can start making them better. And we're going to talk exactly about that. So why don't we start drawing these areas, right? It's going to be like an area like this. We're going to have an area somewhere here, right? Where this guy drops off. We're going to also have an area like this, maybe, right? And we can just start copy pasting some of these. We have an area up here naturally, right? We have an area right here somewhere, right? So what we've done is just accumulate levels based on the volume profile ledges, right? We can draw some here. I don't want to overdraw them, you know? We have some here, let's say, where this ledge kind of drops off. And look how well they hold the structural support, right? Structural support, structural resistance, right? Somewhere here. If we zoom out a little, we can see it a little better, right? Because we have the visible range. So somewhere here, for example. So we can refine these just zooming out a bit. But overall, what we've done is we've identified not based on the structure itself, but rather the volume profile shelves. Now, tying this a little with the structure, we have to make sure that some of these shelves do actually encompass prior areas of resistance, right? Prior areas of rejection. So what we can do right now, we're zooming out here and we could adjust these levels a little. Like maybe here is a better level because it has a ledge that drops off more aggressively at this area and it encompasses these lows. So right now what we're doing is we're starting to put the pieces together. So now that we've understood the volume profile and how to identify those actual areas, right? You can zoom out as far as you want realistically. So you can find more edges. But I like to keep it within a year, right? Maybe within like I start like 6 months in, a year and a half, and then see what kind of results I get based on that. I don't really want to go too much further, especially if price isn't trading anywhere it was a year ago. And then we can dive into step number 4, multiple time frame analysis. So this is going to be really important because there are some key levels that may be hidden in different time frames. Now, the main goal of multi-time frame analysis is going to be dependent on what kind of trading style you're looking for, because these levels, right, they usually start on a daily or a weekly, but they can keep going and going and going depending on if you're a day trader, swing trader, whatever it may be. So let's break this down into two categories. Swing trader number one, weekly, daily, and 4 hour are great for you, right? And then category number two, day trader, I usually go like 4 or 1 hour. Well, I'll go daily, hourly, and then like maybe 10-ish minutes, 15 minutes, right? Those are going to be my three time frames for a day trader. So why don't we pretend we're swing traders right now and break this down into multi-time frame analysis? So what we're going to be doing is, again, the most simple aspect of this is identifying on a weekly where these volume profile ledges may lie, right? We've already drawn them here on Facebook, but let's go on a weekly and make sure that they're good, right? Ledge here, we have a ledge down here. Maybe we can draw something here, right? It encompasses some of these areas. Ledge here, great. Ledge here, right? Ledge down here. Obviously, we're probably not going to be trading these that soon, right? Into the 160s, 140s. Otherwise, we have other problems with Facebook. We got these ledges, right? Great. So as a swing trader, we go back to the daily, and we've already drawn these, so we can say, okay, good, they're confirmed. And then what we haven't done yet is we haven't gone to the 4 hour, because the 4 hour may show us some areas that we haven't necessarily looked at. So for example, right, our ledge is a little better down here on this 4 hour, and we can draw maybe another one in the midst of these guys. So we've already noticed something that's slightly different on the 4 hour. So great, we've already found something that we could change. Otherwise, everything else looks pretty good. Now, let's assume that we are day traders, right? And instead of the 4 hour, we go to the 1 hour. It was very similar to the 4 hour, right? We can find maybe some ledges that we would want, right, to include, because again, when we're day trading, the thing is we're day trading on a much smaller time frame. So these micro moves are going to be very important to us. So let's say here, right, and here we may have missed these ledges, because on a swing trade, what does it matter? These $6 here in the middle of nowhere, not too much. But on a day trade, it really, really affects the potential of that trade, right? We have a resistance there based on this ledge, right? We have one here, let's say, and yeah, so we have another one somewhere up here at this top. So this level, yeah, it's a larger level, but realistically, if we zoom in to the 10-minute here, we can see that, wow, these actual microscopic levels were very important to us. Look at this level we just drew, right? Not only does it encompass the market structure of everything, but it encompasses the ledge. Look at this level. Just take a look at this level we just drew. It didn't look like anything to us. But when we zoom down, right, what happened today alone? Day trade opportunity to sell into these areas. Same thing here. These lower microscopic levels may not seem like much, but when we dive into the actual time frame that we need based on what we're trading, they make all that difference, right? So step number 5, we're going to combine all this together, which we've pretty much just done. So why don't we go over what we've done, what we've learned, and how to break it down? We'll do one more example. So why don't we go into Apple, right? Apple hasn't been touched yet. So far on Apple, why don't we dive in as day traders? So we're going to start with the daily, and we're going to just use this line tool, right? So number 1, we have to understand the trend. Higher highs, higher lows, right? It's pretty bullish right now. In the most immediate move is looking a little bearish. Realistically, we're failing to make highs, we're pulling lower, and that's fine, right? We can still use these areas along with the volume profile to give us indication of where to draw our levels. So the first ledge that really sticks out to me is going to be somewhere here, right? That's going to be our ledge. We have another ledge somewhere in and around this area, right? We have another ledge somewhere here, right? Maybe we can, it depends on which side of the ledge you want to use, right? Maybe we can say here. We have another ledge very, very clearly here, right? And I'm not going to do the other ones necessarily because we said we were day traders. So we want to just use the most immediate ledges. So if we were swing traders, right, maybe we would zoom out a little more and say, okay, well, over here is a clearly definitive ledge, right? Over here and here, right? Those are great ledges and we can play off those areas. But as a swing trader, we'd want to see a bullish structure for us to get kind of long. So remember, with distributions, if we have a distribution here, if we pop through the shelf, the next target's going to be up here. So I don't really want to swing this until we can get above 165.50-ish to get into the mid 170s, for example. So that's why I'm going to stick to day trade. We go to the hourly. we go to the hourly here, and can we redefine some of these profiles, right? Is there ledges that we're missing maybe? Maybe we define this a little better, right? Actually, no, I do like that level. So there's another area, right, where this ledge kind of drops off. You can't see it that well from price, somewhere here, right about at the prior lows. And based on that, right, it doesn't look like there's too much else that we may have missed, right? Maybe we readjust this guy just a smidge. There could be a ledge somewhere here, right? Okay, great. We drew another level. Now we go to the 10-minute here. Go to our 10-minute and see, okay, is there something that we missed? Anything that we could readjust? It looks okay for now, right? Pretty solid. Maybe some of these guys move a little higher, right? It's okay. Like if we zoom out, we'll see these ledges a bit more clearly. Here, it's a visible range, so it's not going to encompass where we actually came from. So you can see, maybe we move this guy a little higher. This is going to be a huge area. 165.30 gives, we're going to get a nice move. So look at this area based on the ledge that we found earlier. Very similar to Facebook, right? Pushes back up, drops back down. Perfect level, right? Even if we drop it a little more to encompass some of these lows, it's going to be a great area. But I want to make sure the ledge comes first, and then we find the peaks and market structure areas. So if you guys enjoyed this video, right, remember, we have to pick up on the market structure first, understanding higher highs, higher lows, bear, bull, right? We have to understand that to start to visualize our levels. We visualize where the peaks are from supports and resistances. Remember, supports turn into resistance and resistance turns to support. Third part, we use the volume profile to break down, right? Where are our shelves? Where are distributions of attraction? Fourth part, multi-time frame analysis, depending on what kind of trading process you do. And then finally, we wrap it all up. So if you guys learned something and enjoyed this video on how to draw these perfect ideal levels based on a few easy steps on TradingView, drop that like, hit that subscribe button, and drop a comment down below. Did you find this effective? Do you now have key levels to play and trade off, right? If you do, let us know, and we'll keep making videos like these. This is Victoria from TradePro Academy, and I sincerely hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you guys for watching, and we will chat very soon.